Hey everyone, today in the extremely long overdue department we are talking about the Oxi One Mark II. Oxi sent me the first version about a year ago and they were kind enough to include me into the beta testing of the second version, which essentially meant that I received it a few weeks in advance of official release. But to be honest, I haven't done much beta testing. The product was pretty much finished when it arrived at my doorstep, and I was in the middle of moving houses, so I couldn't really try it for pretty much until it came out. I ended up hooking it up to the entire studio once it was back up and running, and I had experience with the previous version anyway, but this new version takes it a few notch further and has really cemented my love for it. I control all my synth with it. Previously I was using mostly simple step sequences like the Voltage Multistage, the IntelliGel Metropolis, the Dark Time from Dopfer, stuff that is immediate, fun, and you can pretty much always tell what's happening just by looking at it. I wasn't even sure how this grid layout would work for me, but in the end it was super easy for me to translate the interface, the fun I had with the step sequences to this. The immediacy and the fun is really here, and that to me that's the most important thing, because sequences are the first thing that's underneath your fingers to translate your ideas into music. That's really the first step. That's the first thing you touch before any synth, because the synth need notes information basically unless you make it drone. So to me that's a very important part of the setup. It's also a very personal one. I know everybody has different setup they like. Some people like their sequencer simple, some people like their sequencer to be like battlefield sequences that can do everything. Some people like it hardware, some people like it in the modular. To have a dedicated piece of hardware that's really well made, really beautiful, solid, to me has been a real game changer. It's really nice to have and to use and operate on a day-to-day basis. I wasn't even sure I was gonna like that layout. I've never really used a piano roll in my life. I wasn't sure how you enter notes on a grid like this. It all comes very, very naturally once you start using it. Having something that controls the entire studio, I didn't realize at first. I thought it was nice to have each machine having its sequencer, but now that I'm used to the other way, having one machine in the middle that can send information to everything, I find it really invaluable, and it's a gain in terms of time, in terms of efficiency, and also you can really use what's happening in one instrument to do something in another instrument, because you have everything under your eyes here in the middle. And I can't stress this enough. I really find it super, super nice to have one machine that controls pretty much the entire studio. I know I'm late to the game. People have been doing this for ages with the Circlone or anything else, but to me that was really an eye-opener. And yeah, maybe 10 years too late, I don't know. But anyway, let's dive into the Oxi demo. It's been a really, really, really long time coming, but I'm finally tackling this beast. Fair warning, I'm not going to demo every feature of the Oxi because this video would be 4 hours long, and also because some of them I don't even use myself. Some of them I haven't tried myself. I'm just basically using the mono and poly mode most of the time. Sometimes chord mode, we'll probably do a little segment on that, but I just want to showcase how I use the sequencer to make my music, and how I use all the little features of the sequencer to bring my sequence a bit further, and how the Oxi helps me do stuff that I couldn't do before and I really love doing now. And in a way it doesn't have changed my music, but it helped me push it in directions I wanted to but find it hard before. So we'll cover all this and more in the coming minutes. Let's dive into it. Before we start on the musical example themselves, I just wanted to take a quick minute to show you how this thing is connected and how little cabling you need to control the entire studio basically. So first of all, we have a power cable, USB-C. This thing will stay on if you remove the cable, as it has a battery. The battery should last you about a couple hours, maybe more. I haven't tried to push it to its limit, but it's a decent sized battery. There's a MIDI cable going to the Oxi split, and as the name implies, it's splitting the MIDI in different outputs. There's A, B, C, because this is the first version of the Oxi split. There is now a second version with more MIDI output to accommodate the 8 sequences of the Oxi. The white one is going to the syncussion, and the black type A one is going to the OB6. We now also have an analog clock input coming from my ERM multiclock. I'm really happy Oxi decided to include an analog clock solution to their sequencers, because this is clearly the superior clocking solution. So that means that you have a very solid master clock for your sequencer that is going to distribute information all over the studio. So I think it's quite important to have that master clock to be as solid as possible. And then we obviously have the mini HDMI cable going to the Oxi pipe 2. There are a few differences between the pipe 1 and 2. I'm not exactly sure what they are. I think there's a clock out in this one, which wasn't there previously. What is sure is that the pipe is absolutely a game changer if you play live. I bought mine just before my live set in Amsterdam at the end of August, and it's just incredibly handy to have just one cable to plug and your whole modular case is ready to go. And even if you don't play live, I would argue that the pipe is also very handy and nice to have, because it just makes you use the features of the Oxi more. You need an LFO, or you want to use the velocity to control something on the modular, or one of the mod lanes to control the filter or the decay of an envelope, whatever. You just set it up in the Oxi, it takes like 30 seconds tops, and then it's coming out at one of the 3 outputs that you have on this. And it's just, it makes the features of the Oxi behave as if you had a module in the modular, basically, or close enough, let's say. So yeah, it just makes you use the features more, I think, rather than if you had to look at the back of the Oxi, find the right output and just plug it in. Just this doesn't kill the flow as much, and it's just yeah, very handy. And it's 6 HP and passive and relatively inexpensive, so why bother not having it? The way my Oxi is set up is the first track is controlling the OB6 over here, which is nice and handy to be able to control it from a distance. Track 2 is usually the Swayman SM1. Track 3 is usually my bass line with the Atlantis. Track 4 is the GRP A2, and track 5 is my syncussion. It's a multi-track, so one channel is controlled by one track and channel 2 is controlled by the other track. The 909 I still control with its own internal sequencer. I've been meaning to use it with the Oxi, but still haven't found the urge to do it. I'm sure it's really nice to have full velocity on the hi-hats and the mutes and all the performance features of the Oxi on the 909. But yeah, it's just, it's not the kind of thing I want to do when I enter the studio, and still haven't done it. So this is the setup. Let's now dive into the examples. Let's start with something very simple and something that is really the basis of what I do every day, which is making sequences, because my music is very sequence based and I love synth. So in order to do this, we're going to use the Atlantis because it's basically in frame. That's the easiest, and who doesn't love the sound of a beautiful Atlantis? So as you can see, we have an 8-step sequence here, because it's usually 8-step on the Atlantis because I use the Atlantis for bass lines most of the time. Actually, I'm going to make something more lead based, I guess, here, because otherwise it's not going to be very interesting. But you can enter a bass line like this and you should start to hear something. There's usually, of course, a kick. So that could be like a sort of bass line that I use. But here we're going to delete this and maybe start with a 16-note sequence. I mean, it's here, so let's do random. you have a few different parameters: bias, range, random, density, density being the number of notes it is going to put in the sequence. The range, I like to put it at 12 semitones for a sequence. That's going to be more of a lead, so it has 2 octaves, and then you push the add button and you get something going. Oh yeah, I've tried a few things before. So there's a delay and there's a little bit of reverb on the sound, so it's a bit more enjoyable to listen to. We could try another one. And say I prefer the first one. Just go back in time. Amazing. You can also go forward in time. You have 15 steps back and 50 steps forward. Let's keep that one. First try. So this is something that's cool. And what I really wanted to show you first was how easy and fun it is to bring something like this that's already nice into something that's more complicated, and the way I do and the way I go about this. So since we have here just one page, I usually duplicate this. So now we have 32, and maybe I'll start adding some other notes on the second page. To get some variety. I've also plugged a cable in the level of Atlantis, which gives me access to velocity. So you access velocity by pressing the encoder here. As you can hear, there's instantly an effect. Which is really nice, especially on modular where it's quite hard to implement velocity. So the level input is very nice. Can get clicky, but here it's fine. So let's say you're happy with this, you can again duplicate, and then you're going to go to 4 pages of sequence. So you navigate between here. You can actually go to 8 pages of sequence, 128 steps. This is, you have to press a second time and it's light blue instead of white. But let's say we're happy with this. You can, of course, hold a note and decide the trig. So it can be just a percentage, it can be just 1 time out of 3. You know, like if you've ever used an Electron machine, this should be very comfortable to you. You can individually change the velocity, of course. You can have longer gates if you want to, just hold one note. Without it here, you can change the swing holding shift and turning the encoder. Bit of swing never hurts anyone. And then, now that we have something that maybe is fixed, not boring because there's a bunch of variety going on, we can go to the random page, which is the same page of the random generator. The random generator just have to hit switch and this, or just hit it twice. So if it lights in white, it's just a random perform mode, and here you can choose a percentage of random. It applies to a few different parameters, like the velocity, for example. And my main used one would be the octaves. I really like putting like a 5% change of 1 octave up. You can go to 10 if you feel adventurous. course, you can also have some percentage on the notes, which depending on the sequence can be really nice. It works easily here because the only thing going on is this sequence. When you have a bunch of stuff going on, you have to be, I guess, in tune, which is rarely my case because I almost never tune anything. The Atlantis is going straight to the interface here via the Vermona twin out, so we have a pure signal. Let's duplicate it again and just go crazy on the last page. Put a longer gate at the end, something I like to do. I don't know, to signify the end of the sequence or something. Always very enjoyable, that Atlantis tone. I use it so much for bassline, I actually forget how good it sounds like this. It's very nice to have a bassline machine that's reliable, but I need to switch up. So as you can see, it's easy. It took me like 5 minutes to make, but it's really complex and quite interesting. You can of course have a few different scales. We're in Ukrainian, Dorian. I absolutely have no idea what it means, but it just sounds strange enough that I like it. Another thing we can do is just take one cable. I have here a envelope for Pamela's workout going into VCF mode. We can take this off and take an output from the Oxi pipe, and then we go into the CV gate here and just select, we have number 6 selected, so mode 1. You can have one of the 2 internal LFO, but let's use mode 1. And then you go to mode, and I'll bring this up so you can hear. I have a knob that can control the amount of knob to the filter, which is not very interesting by itself, but now I can sequence this. It's the exact same sequence as the main sequencer, so I can have only 1 page, but I can have up to 8 pages. I can make it have only 16 steps or 15 steps so that it repeats in a polymeter way, and so you get these polymetric variations, and it adds like another layer of modulation, of complexity. That's something you can easily do with a modular and a sequential switch, something I used to do a lot when I was more into patching than I am now. But this is just an amazing way to have fun basically with your sequence. A very modular in a way, like I said, because then you also have all the panel controls, so you can really tailor that modulation however you like. This sounds really nice. There's a bunch of parameters you can have in the mod lane, like the attack of the modulation. If you feel like the modulation is too fast, you can half the speed it a bunch of times. Maybe now we can try and bring something else. Let's see if this works. Sorry, the battery on my camera died, of course. So now that we're here and we have that Atlantis sequence just trotting along, we can try to add maybe some stuff from the OB6. I don't even know what kind of stuff I have. Ooh, spooky. The thing I really love about this is how easy it is to try things like this, you know? Let's reduce the velocity. On the new one, you have a lot of option also in the page, the new page button that allows you to have some very interesting stuff like the accumulator, which gonna sort of change the note every time it passes through according to parameters you set. You can do that on any note to add another layer of complexity. So there's always going to be that one note that is a bit different, but in a controlled way, not absolutely random. If you feel like the OB6 doesn't need a sequence, you can just go into keyboard mode and try a pad. This makes absolutely no sense, but you get my drift. Just try things, see if what sticks. Okay, so we are pretty much where we left off. I just changed the kick tuning from low to high, and the bass line is pretty much what we had before, except it used to be all this. And now it's just this. So just the first page. It could even be just the first 8 steps for more loopy kind of stuff. Stage is good. A bit more variation, I guess. And still there's this low rolling kind of stuff happening. So there's a bit of swing on this bass line. So this is going to be maybe more typical to my really, what I do like 80% of the time, I would say. I'm going to get something going, usually with another synth, once I have the bass line. So typically that would be the SM1 or the GRP. Let's do something with the GRP now. Something like this maybe. GRP is always insanely loud. This is a bit of a FM on the GRP. I've also loaded like a kind of instant pad chain of effects on the OB6 so that I can something in the background to fill space. Sometimes it adds intensity, sometimes it dilutes the intensity, it depends. It's just a YouTube example, so who cares? Just a sustained note with a filter, making it feel like it's more complicated than it is. There's some LFO modulation on the filter of the GRP. Some effects, just a little bit of delay. So that's very minimal, bit of a minimal groove going. My kind of stuff actually. You can always add notes, or another thing I really like is if your sequence feels like it's good but the beginning isn't where it should be, you can just nudge it back and forth with the shift and the arrows here. And you can test a few different grooves like this. Just add notes one at a time. That's usually what I do. Make it slightly more complicated, slightly busier. Can try different waveforms. Since there's FM, it's going to have a big impact, different octaves. We already have a bass line, no need to go much lower. Can duplicate this. As you can see, my method is extremely scientific and I really think about what I do. I feel like a blind dog just tapping notes. Just having fun, really. Tape delay. There's already delay on this, but maybe we need to double down. I guess this is where I stop usually. We can add something else maybe from the Swayman. What I really like also is that you have all your sequences here under the eyes, so you can easily build some sort of call and responses. Seeing where there's no notes, you just add one. This is just a tiny nose, so that we can say we added the swimmer. That's it, having fun. There's also a performance mode. So the performance mode, you can quickly mute stuff. I could mute the bassline. Back everything. Very useful. You can also transpose. In both ways, actually. When you're in multi-track mode like I am for the syncussion, you can see here I just have, I just use this to make hats. You also have mutes, you have some beat repeats kind of modes. The perf mode is, like it says, a performative tool for live set. Really nice. It doesn't exist on the first version of the sequencer. Risky business attempting a drop like this. I've added some variation on the notes of the GRP sequence. And usually after a while you always feel like your sequence is happening too often, which I know for me it happens a lot. So you can always make more space super easily with this. You either duplicate the whole sequence, here it goes to 128, and then you can delete one of the parts, or you can have it go half as slow, but then it's a completely different feel, so it doesn't work exactly the same depending on what you have going on. But you can always then, the fact that half it made it start in a different way. Which is okay too, I guess. As you can see, it's very jump friendly. This is my main takeaway from this, that it's fun and jump friendly, and just it's a great thing to have under your eyes, under your hands in the studio. You can quickly mute here, or you can also mute here. It brings back the sounds in time. If you want it, you can choose the mute behavior. You have some LFOs. I have to say I don't use them much, but you can link them to the pipe if you need more LFOs in your system. There's of course an ARP and stuff like this, which I have to say never use. But yeah, this is like a typical use for a little loop I would make. Stuff that might or might not get turned into a track later. Just wanted to get something quickly going here for the demonstration, of course. You can quickly lose hours and hours with this, just because, I mean, who doesn't like bringing a hat again and again and again? I could do this all day. Oh yes. Audio rate modulation. Well, I guess I need to stop somewhere sometime, but you get the drift again. I control all the sequence here, from here. You can easily go from one place to another. Keep this, go back to what we had before. This is the first sequence in the first part of the video. Just with the pad added, of course. jam friendly. Okay, another thing I wanted to show you is how you can really tailor the sequence to your liking. To that end, we are using the chord sequencer to sequence chords on the OB6. That's what you're hearing. There's also a bass line. A kick. But let's say I wish maybe I just like the end part of this, so you can make the sequence start here. So this is pretty nice, but it's too repetitive, too loopy. I remove the previous notes. Maybe this would be better at the start, so like I said, you can just nudge it. Find a groove that you like. Just tailor the velocity maybe. Add some delay. Something a bit maybe more understated. Or different kind of delay. Maybe this one is good, but just one every 3 bar, I guess. The bass line is coming from the Atlantis, it's fixed, but we can have it follow. So it's the same scale and it's relatively tuned, I think. It's in C at least. We can have it follow. It's following now what's happening on the OB6, harmonizing. But it's less of a bass line. This definitely has its uses, but maybe here I think it's nice as fixed, just basic, but it was a good excuse to use the chord mode. Something I do not very often. Of course, since the OB6 as MIDI, you can actually choose the CC destination, and you can enter the OB6 CC destination super easily. And you can choose the modulator. Let's choose filter frequency. smoothness, you can always add some modulation. Any kind of instrument you throw at it, CV, MIDI, can handle it all, often all at the same time. It's going to give you good ideas. Those good ideas you can tweak to your liking. You can also store plenty of sequences. I really have a lot for the other, but I don't have much for the OB6. Let's have chance decide our fate again. I don't recommend doing that actually. At least not in public. Or just be very, very sure of what you're getting into. For even more cacophony, I can also scroll the parameters and the presets of the OB6 and just turn this video in an absolute nightmare. Just to show you that it's not always spitting gold, you have to work. It's nice to have random. Sometimes you don't feel inspired and just want to hit that button over and over again. And sometimes you exactly know what you want. Again, the amazing thing with the Oxi is that you can do both. You can know exactly what you want and you can tell it to add some random against that backdrop of solid idea, or on the contrary, don't have any idea, you want some spark, some beginning of an idea, then you'll just tailor it to your liking. Which is what I really like again about that sequencer, the mix of control, randomness. It can do exactly what you need. You can load your sequences that you may have done in Ableton, the MIDI notes inside it to have this as a basis and then jam on it. You can have plenty of sequences that you saved and you can jam on this. For live, this is invaluable. If you have, like, say 10 patterns of kick drums and you have your 10 sequences that you know are gonna more or less work on those specific kick drum patterns, then you can jam on this too. And it's like a very useful safety net I discovered recently. And just, it's not that I'm gonna have my live set just set in stone, but it's quite nice to know that if you bring a synth line, the synth line is going to work more or less with what's happening. Maybe the sound you'll have to tweak in real time, but at least the sequence is not going to be too busy, or it's going to be able to answer something that's happening on the octave track that's fixed. So it's really nice to be able to prepare this beforehand and have all your sequences laid out here on the project page. This is my studio project file, so it's a mess actually, but you can load the live project, and here, you know, I have my I just have one voice in my live set with the Swayman, so these are the sequences. And as you saw, it's seamless to bring one or the other. All of these little features are really nice for live sets. This is why I bring it to live set now with the Oxi pipe. You just have to bring one cable and you're good to go. Alright, we finally reached the end of the video. I hope I didn't get too carried away with playing music instead of really explaining features, but in any case, to me, that's a good sign. That's really a sequencer that allows you to play, that makes you want to play and have fun while doing so. And for a sequencer, that's all you can ask for. Express yourself. So to me, that's a 10 out of 10 piece of gear. I love it. I can't thank Oxi enough for allowing me to try this, take my time with it, and finally make a review a year later. But I've been using this non-stop, as you can see in my Instagram videos or wherever. If you saw me live recently, it was on stage as well. I'm confident enough with it to bring it on stage, which also high praise in my opinion. Of course, if I forgot features that you love using, I'd love hearing about it in the comments. I just reviewed the stuff I use really often. There's a lot of things I still don't use, so it's cool. There's a lot to discover still. It's still a piece of gear that I feel like I know well, despite not using every features, but I could say this about plenty of other pieces of gear like the Octatrack, which I use in a very dumb way, but still I like it. Thank you again for watching. I'll see you soon in another video, probably sequencer based as well. We'll see about that. And in the meantime, have fun. See you soon.